I want to talk a little bit about the repercussions and the fallout, including positive fallout from the suspension of Donald Trump from Twitter. Now, we can have a reasonable debate about the suspension of Donald Trump from Twitter. There's no question that he did violate the terms and conditions of Twitter, and he's been violating them for years. And if any non-president were doing that, they would have been suspended from Twitter long ago. At the same time, the counterpoint would be that there's value in hearing from what world leaders say, and thus the suspension is in some way a detriment to knowing what it is that our leaders are feeling and saying and doing, or whatever the case may be. I don't want to focus on that in this particular segment because there have been a lot of headlines floating around that election misinformation has dropped dramatically since Donald Trump was banned from Twitter. And of course, that's true. It absolutely has. Online misinformation about election fraud is down 73% after not only Twitter, but several social media sites suspended Donald Trump about 8, 9, 10 days ago. This is based on a report from Signal Labs. And when you look at this, if you believe that the sole cause of the reduction of disinformation is Trump's suspension from these platforms, that is a big endorsement of this as a policy, that if you identify particularly important sort of nodes of disinformation, by getting rid of them, you stop the trickle down, as it effectively is, of disinformation. Trump, with what were, I think, 80 or something million followers on Twitter, would tweet disinformation. And then these kind of next level people like his family and prominent journalists and influencers would retweet and signal boost the same bogus ideas. And then you would have lower level media and voters, and it continues and continues. And next thing you know, your great aunt, who's not even on Twitter, is hearing about some of these ideas Sunday morning on Fox Business, to point to Maria Bartiromo as an example. I think that the analysis has to go a little bit deeper, though, because when Donald Trump was suspended from Twitter and from these other platforms, other things also went on that would explain the dramatic reduction in disinformation around the election. And we can't say it was merely suspending Trump. For example, about 70,000 QAnon associated accounts were purged from Twitter at the same time. It's not just Trump being gone. It's Twitter buckling down on a lot of these signal boosting accounts. Sanctions on a Parler, insofar as Apple and Google said no more Parler on our app stores. And Amazon said we're not hosting Parler anymore. That's also a factor in reducing the spread of this election disinformation. The election was also certified, and the Capitol got stormed, and it created a completely new look at the circumstances for a lot of people. So I just don't think we can point merely to Trump being suspended and saying that's why election disinformation is down 73%. To say it's down 73% because Trump was banned from Twitter seems like a stretch to me. To say it coincided along with these other reasons makes a lot of sense to me. And part of me hopes that this will help to deprogram some people who have fallen into fanaticism. But unfortunately, if you believe that it wasn't disinformation, in other words, if you hear me say election disinformation is down 73%, and your reaction is that wasn't disinformation, the truth about the elections is down 73% because they're censoring it, then the fact that I'm reporting this will become part of the conspiracy. And as I've said before, it's very hard to argue against folks who are committed to those narratives. I will say one other thing. We've talked a lot about the importance of deprogramming Trumpists and deprogramming conspiracy theorists and the like. On tomorrow's show, we are going, or maybe on Friday, but I'm hoping it'll be tomorrow if we have time for it. We are going to do a deep dive on a recent focus group that was done with Trump voters. Okay, it's unbelievable. Frank Luntz did a focus group with 12 Trumpists after the January 6th riots. And everything about this focus group tells us what we need to know about the uphill battle of deprogramming Trumpists, and in particular, the role that right-wing radical media has on it being so difficult to deprogram them. So tomorrow or Friday, we're going to do a deep dive into that. One of our sponsors today is Trivia Star, a free trivia game for mobile devices with over 60 different trivia categories, including things I know you would love, like geography, history, science, many other great topics, movies, sports, food. I've been having a bunch of fun with it because I, as the player, get to choose the categories. So I'm only answering questions on topics I'm interested in. There are over 1,000 different levels to progress to, over 10,000 different questions, which get harder over time. So it gets more and more interesting as you play. If you love trivia like I do, I remember the days pre-virus of going out to trivia at a bar, and you want a fun way to keep yourself sharp. Check it out. Really well-designed game, 4.9 star rating, and the #1 rated mobile trivia game in the world, and totally free. Download it in the Apple or Android app stores.